Welcome to the finish line with Sew Very Easy. My name is Laura, and I find the most important thing when we are doing any type of quilting is control. We know what the pattern wants to look like in our head. It's having it go from our head to our hands and controlling it on the fabric. And I do have some tricks that I like to use myself. The first thing is being able to sit at your machine correctly. We really do not want to be too high, but we don't want to be too low either, because we do not want to put the stress on our arms as we're moving all of that fabric. The other thing is a surface that we're going to be able to work on. Now, if we can get a flat surface, regardless if it's our home machine or a sit-down machine, that makes a world of difference. Even if you are able to build up your system on your own where you have a flat surface. And the bigger is definitely better. Now, I do like to extend right onto my lap. And to do that, I use a pillow. Now, this is a silk front pillow, so what I'm able to do is just take this and I bring it right here. And you can see how this is extended a little bit of that workspace for me. So the fabric is not hanging down. You'll have to try a couple of pillows on your own to find just the right size. But once you have a size here, it's going to help not have that quilt lay down. And it's going to help us prevent us from trying to pull our legs up to try to catch that quilt. The other thing is controlling the fabric. Now, there's two things that I like to use, and there's more things out there, but there's two things that I like to use. Number one are gloves. Now, the reason I like to wear gloves, there is a surface on the gloves that makes that fabric move. So I'm not having to grip with my hands. I'm not having to grip with my fingers, my wrist, and my arm. I can just put my hand in that glove and move that fabric versus just my hand. I automatically grip with my fingertips as I'm quilting if I don't have a grip. Now, there are other things you can get. You can get little things, I think they call them bat wings. It's a little foam piece that you just put on your hand so you hold that. The other thing are hoops. And you can get many different size hoops and styles, makes, and models. I have a double set from Bernina. Now, these are made for Bernina by Martelli, and they have a nice weight to them. They have a non-slip surface on the back, and this particular set has an opening, and this I would not do without. I love having that opening. So this is taking the place of gloves or anything you need to hold that fabric down with. When you put that hoop down, it has some weight to it. So it's holding that fabric automatically, even without us having to push down. The idea is for us not to have to push down. We are just moving that fabric. And we have a lot of control over this, just holding that hoop. And it's also going to keep that fabric in this area flat for us. So we're going to be able to straighten the fabric out, put that hoop down, and then we're going to be able to drive it. The reason I like the gripper hoops is that it does take a lot of stress off of my hands, fingers, shoulders, everything. When we are using something to help us, like these hoops, there's not as much work on all of those muscles. I'm just able to move it. Now, there are a few things, if you decide on getting some type of a gripping wheel or a system, there are a few things we need to train ourselves before we use them. Number one, we need to remind ourselves we do not have to give it the grip of death. It does not need to be very firm. This weight of this particular model is giving us that grip. So all we're having to do is move. So the first thing I like to recommend is to test it with butterfly fingers. So keep your little pinkies up and just use your fingers and get yourself that opportunity to learn the feel of this. How smooth is it? How much can you move? What is that relationship between your counter and that quilt? So just take this and just play with it a little bit so you get that feeling and do tiny little movements and large movements. Then we're going to be able to put our hands relaxed and move this. This is all I need to concentrate. I'm not having to concentrate on the whole quilt, just this small area. Now we do have an opening, and this opening I really, really love. I would be lost without it. That opening fits so that we do not have to take our needle out of our sewing. It fits right in. Now this larger one, it does have that same opening, but it just happens to sit nicely on my machine. So I can do a little bit of quilting and then just move it down. And if you're going to do that, be sure to test and make sure that that thread path does not have anything to do with this hoop. So this is the surface I'm going to be able to quilt and not even concentrate on any of the other areas. And I like to do a pattern that I find is very versatile, and I call it my double C. I'll put a link in the description so you can check that video out. So I just have these tiny little C's, and some of them have some tails. This is going to fill in the entire project. So regardless if we're going to wear gloves, have that pillow, have some additional help with some gripper hoops, what we really need to do is get control of that fabric. Once we have control, then the rest will just come with time. You can get these gripper hoops as a set of 2, and you can get them anywhere Bernina sewing machines are sold. So if this is something that you have a chance to sit down and give a try, I would definitely recommend it. This just might be the answer that you're looking for. And thank you for joining me today on Sew Very Easy. Feel free to subscribe on my Facebook, Instagram, and I do have a newsletter. It's all free under Sew Very Easy. And be sure to make every day a Sewtacular day. Bye for now.